really comes down to the issue of grades as motivators. And motivators is a very weighted word. It has a lot of baggage because when we think of motivating, really what we mean is manipulating in most cases. That is what we mean. It's a really slippery slope to try to help children and kind of nudge them in the right direction and help them figure things out on their own. Going from that to basically just controlling their lives and using grades or other rewards, whether it's, gold stars, or the little cards that you get for being good at the end of the week, using those to try to control students' behavior. So when it becomes a control issue, which I think is inevitably what it leads to, then you're not respecting students. I mean, this is, the human restoration project, like the humanity of students is really important. And when you have a whole system that is dedicated to controlling them and manipulating them, then you're not treating them like human beings. You're treating them like dogs or pigeons or rats or any of the other animals that were used by behaviorists to study these things. And I do think that grades, like I said before, inevitably lead to this. I don't know that there is a way to have a grading system that doesn't use grades as manipulators. Obviously we can evaluate, and evaluation is a good thing, and that's the thing that we're aiming for. But slapping a number or a letter on a student at the end of the day is, I think, just ultimately bad for them.
I also want to talk about something else that came up, and we'll tie this all together in the second half of the conversation, which is the connection of grading to just motivation in general. So things like pay raises, lack of autonomy at the workplace, things that are used to control us through motivation that really I would argue, we're almost trained to do via grades in school as being like an okay practice. Could you talk about really where we see this issue of conditional motivation past the classroom level?
So, I mean, like you said, we are really conditioned to do this, for the first 18 years of our lives, and even more if we go on to college and grad school. We're conditioned to only do things if we're getting a reward to do it. Like you said, we see this in the workplace with things like bonuses and even commission pay to some extent. If you sell X number of things, you get a pay raise, etc. The place that it is most clear, at least at this current cultural moment, is the issue of unemployment in like fast food restaurants. So we have all of these fast food restaurants that are putting up signs telling people that they'll get a sign-on bonus, and they have signs on their doors like apologizing to customers because they don't have enough people working, because according to them, it's just that people are lazy and nobody wants to work anymore. But in reality, this is just a consequence of the way that our current economic model is set up. The reason that people aren't coming to work, or the reason that people aren't working for these jobs, isn't that people are lazy. It's that money is required to live, and if they're not making enough money to live, then that's not a good thing. And so these places are taking advantage of that and trying to manipulate people to come and work for them for wages that are not good. And so I think we are kind of seeing potentially a cultural turning point where people are starting to realize that there are these cracks in this system, and that rewards, things like money, in a lot of cases, are used to manipulate people. And so hopefully, if people can see that this is the case with our economic system, maybe they can apply that same lens to the educational system, and we can fix everything all at once. That would be ideal.